Good morning, colleagues. Thank you so much for joining this session today. Just by a way of introduction, my name is Nomsa. I take care of, I'm an account manager for public sector in Caseware. Thank you so much for making the time to join us today for our Caseware tips and tricks session. Why we decided to have the session is because with the financial year end submissions fast approaching, this is the perfect opportunity to pick up on some useful tips and tricks, and just basically how to work better under the stressful financial year end submissions. I hope you have your laptops with, and if you don't, I hope you have at least a notebook and a pen so you can capture all the nuggets that we are going to share with you today. Without keeping you, I've got my colleague Banele and Mateo who are going to run with the session. I'm going to hand over to them, and they will share how they want to run the session. Can we just make sure that the session is interactive? And Banele will say if he wants the questions to be as and when he's presenting or after. But I will hand over to you, Banele, if you're ready.
All right, thank you, Nomsa. I hope just a sound check. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you very much. Welcome, colleagues. Thank you for joining in for Caseware Tips and Tricks. This is mainly coming from the breakfast that we had on the 7th of uh, March, where we had a slot there which just showed how you go about resolving common issues and how do you make sure that you resolve the smallest issues that you have, right? And you guys said, no, we should have a more time slot in terms of covering the tips and tricks. And here we are today in terms of making sure that we assist you. We know that now we have deadlines, but we were trying to make sure that we assist you, especially if you have some of the issues that are common, how you do resolve them without reaching out to support. Without any waste of time, let me quickly proceed. All right. So now I'm just going to take you through the common queries that maybe most of you, when you call into support, this is what you request, and most of the time. And I make sure that I cover the top five, right? And my colleague here, Muteo, is going to just show you the tips in terms of drafting, how you go about the formatting, how do you insert page breaks, and how do you go about all the editing and formatting of your financial statements, right? Okay, I'm just going to have a poll right now, just to make sure that we are interactive, right? I want to know, I'm just going to include the poll. It's going to show, please participate on the poll. I just want to know how many of you guys did attend the PFMA breakfast that we had on the 7th of March. I'm just going to give you guys 2 minutes just to complete the poll. Okay, so right, thank you guys for completing the poll. From the results, we have 39% people attended and 61% did not make it to the PFMA breakfast. The reason why I'm sharing this, right? Just going back to my slide, um, in one of the presentation, in one of the tips that we shared, it was in terms of the new standard and interpretation, right? Um, I was just sharing that most of you guys will call in and you will say that the new standard and interpretation node is not pulling through correctly. And what you needed to do is just to insert the date of audit report, right? And one of the suggestions that came in that breakfast is that we need, at least if it's possible, that we include that section before the note, right? So this shows that your feedback is not only valued, but it drives our improvements, right? So now in the third release for GRAP, we've included the section there where it says for this note to work, please ensure that the audit report date is set in the information store, right? So now you don't have to call support and say this note is not working properly. Now you can just make sure that before you call, you have the date that is inserted in the information store, and what just you need to do is just to just turn on the sections below. Right. All right. So let me just show you how it showed before. This is in the new release. Just before the release, this is how it was showing. Right. Okay. As you can see, before it didn't have that a note where it just reminds you that of the date of audit report, right? So this is I'm sharing this because I just wanted to show you that your feedback is valued and it drives our improvements as well as a business. Right? Okay. Um, Let me quickly change my screen, guys. Just give me a moment. And let me start showing how we go about the tips and tricks. What I'm gonna cover is amounts not pulling through to the note. What are you supposed to do? How you should troubleshoot around that, and amounts not pulling through to the statement, i.e., balance sheet. How you go about that? Amounts not pulling through either in the statement or in the note, how you go about that. If you've passed adjusting journals but they're not pulling through to the statement or to the financial statements, how you troubleshoot around that, and what do you have to make sure that is there. um, and I'm just going to cover in terms of information not pulling through, how you cover and you go about that. RRC 100, this is one of the errors that we normally get, and how do you resolve that error C100, and how you go about headers and footers if you want to just make sure that you cover the editing and around the headers there, how you go about that. All right. Let me just stop sharing and I'm just going to share again, right? Just all right. I hope you guys can see now. Okay, so these are the financial statements. And now, um, is, my financials are not balanced yet. I know it's not I'm not the only one. So yeah, so normally we advise that you have the balance check on, right? This it shows you what is out of balance and so that you can just make sure that you go around about that. I'm just going to jump to the balance sheet. So this is the balance sheet, right? As you can see, this is the balance sheet. Let me just turn off, yeah, just for a moment so that it shows properly. Right. So this is my balance sheet, and I'm just gonna go to the cash and cash equivalent note, right? The first thing that I'm gonna cover is you have an amount, right? You have an amount that is not pulling through correctly in the note, right? We are not focusing on the balance sheet in the note, right? How do you go about that, right? Here, I just want to make sure that you guys you check the mapping. So mapping is one important thing that you have to make sure that you check where is the amount pulling through, because from the node the amount is pulling through directly from the mapping. So it is important that you check your mapping. How do you go about that? You go to options on the freeze pane. You click on builder mode. What builder mode does, right, it shows you on the side where the amount is pulling through from, right? The reason why this mapping number is long is because it pulls through like from other accounts as well. So you look at the mapping number, right? This mapping number will tell you where this 126 million pulling through from. So what you do is go copy this, right? Go to Caseware, under accounts, assign mapping, right? Just paste this amount there, right? Then when you paste this amount here, right? This now shows you that the bank balance for the current year is 6 million. So basically, this amount should agree with the amount that you have on the note, right? This 126 should put through the same amount as the one that is on the note. Okay, so then you click then you just make sure that okay, this is 126 and this is the account and this is where you mapped current assets, cash and cash equivalent, and bank balances. That's here, right? Then you go back to the node and you make sure that this is the same mapping number as the one that is on the assigned mapping screen. So just make sure that the mapping number here is correct. Is correct. Sorry, is correct. Just another thing, right? Let's say that still you see that no, actually that amount on the in the assigned mapping screen is correct, but the one that is on the node is not correct. And even if the mapping is correct, what you do is another way of just making sure that you refresh this node. You just click on get new version and you click on library here, right? This is a way of refreshing your node and making sure that it is pulling through the correct figures, right? Okay, another thing I just want to cover, especially with the cash and cash equivalent, right, is the offset and keep accounts, right? Sometimes you'll find that, right, you will say, oh, actually, maybe I have an issue. I just want to make sure that um, there are correct amounts are pulling through to the balance sheet. Make sure that this button you is selected in terms of offset, right? So we know for the current year, right? Even though we've offset, but we have a positive balance. So it means that whatever that is going to pull through is going to pull through in the current asset section, right? And we know that last year we had a credit balance of which that is a bank overdraft that is going to pull through in the liability section under current liabilities, right? So, but if you want to make sure that you keep them separate, you want to keep your assets under your assets and you want to keep your liabilities on your liabilities, then that's you click on this section. This is how you go about that. Okay. Now, I'll just move to now your note is pulling through the correct figure, but now you have an issue with your statement, right? The statement is not pulling through the correct figure. Even you've just confirmed on your note, you've just clicked on jump to note, and you see that, oh, actually the 126 million is correct, right? So the 126 is correct, but on the face of the financials is not pulling through the correct figure, right? So sometimes this happens, guys, where this is what we do. Overriding an amount. Make sure, right? Firstly, make sure that the amount is not overridden, right? If the amount is not overridden, what you do, it is overridden, you just right click on the amount and override. And override is going to take back the amount from its original original amount. Yes. So just to make sure that this is not overridden. If a cell is overridden, it's gonna Caseware will tell you that this amount is overridden. It's gonna show like this. Okay? You will see a red dot next to your amount to show this amount is overridden. So how you remove this? You just make sure that you right click and you take it to the original amount. This is the amount that pulls you directly from the note. Okay. If this doesn't work, what do you do? This is I know it might be a complex way, but this is just to make sure that I'm just not gonna go in deep in how you go about that, right? You just send in the amount, go to design mode. You can get the password for design mode on the Caseware community. Okay. Uh, uh, we don't give out the password, so you have to make sure that you sign in the indemnity form and you make sure that the password will be given to you so that you have access to design mode, right? You see, don't click on anywhere, and there is the cursor and it's on the amount. You just click on this equal sign, right? So it's showing the side. Click on this equal sign, you click on calculation, and this is going to show you where this calculation is picking up from, right? And when you're done, you said just click here, copy. Now you're just making sure that you see, and then you click on Control F, cells, then you just type in the cell, and you click on next. Right? When you click on next, it's going to take you to the node where the cell is, where the cells, the formula is referencing the cells. Right? I know, guys, this is complex. If you're not comfortable with this, but you can just reach out to support. But this is what you can just check if an amount is not pulling through on the statement, just to check if the formula is pulling through correctly. Right? If it doesn't work, the last resort would be getting a new version. I know it's not recommended getting a new version of the balance, any statement, because you'll be having to redo all the formulas, all the customizations on your statement. So it's not really recommended to get a new version of the whole statement of financial position. So that is a last resort if your amount still is not pulling through correctly. Okay. So with the node, if you get a new version of the node, it's only going to refresh this section, of which that's why it's not really a big deal, but it's only just refreshing this section of the node. But if you get a new version of the statement, it just refreshes the whole balance sheet, right? Now, I'm just going to cover. if amounts now are not pulling through they're not pulling through correctly on your note and statement. Just bear with me. Okay. So now you have an issue here where if you go to your cash and cash equivalent, there is no amount, but it's imported. The amount here it should be 126 million, but there is nothing here on the statement. You just go back to the note, there is nothing on the note, right? The first thing that you do in terms of if an amount is not going through on the note and on the statement, right? The first thing that you do is to check your column uh, settings here, right? If you go back to the engagement properties, right? Sorry, okay. So if you click on the engagement properties, you know which period you've imported into. Uh, so if you know that you've imported into the March period, right? March period will be month 12. If you make sure that there is figures in your month 12, you just make sure that you engagement properties do match with your column settings, all right? Uh, just giving it some time to calculate. Now it's ready. Make sure that if it's monthly there, if your sequence is there is monthly, you do the same here. Select monthly, and you know that the reporting period is the 31st of March, so that will be March. And same with last year, unless if there's changes, and that will pull through your figures there. Okay. So with the amounts not pulling through correctly in the note and in the statement, just make sure that you have your column settings up there. How do you get column settings? You just go to the freeze pane. You see this just icon next to your robot, then you click on column settings. This is how your column settings will appear. And you make sure that you're on the column settings, it matches with your engagement properties in this section and the reporting dates. So monthly period 12, when we say 12 here, it's because March is our 12th period. That's why there's 12, right? Okay. Now, I'm just gonna cover with the journals, right? Most queries with the journals is that my journal, I've passed the journal and it's not pulling through and financials, and it's not pulling through in the notes, right? What do you do in the journals? Sorry. Okay. Okay. What is important under general is the period type. As we before, the period type is important. This monthly is important that you select monthly and the period of the journal. Are you passing the journal in this period, or uh, and maybe the journal is for last year, right? Make sure that you, if it is for last year, you make sure that you click on 2023, 31st of March. Make sure that the date here is important. If it's a prior journal, make sure that you change the date so that it affects the 2023 financial year. And the type of journal, is it a normal adjusting? If prior, then it should be for prior period, right? Okay. So these are the three things that we have to check in terms of journal, and then it should be another troubleshooting step where you just follow. But in terms of if a journal is not pulling through correctly, these are the three things that you just check to make sure that the journal does pull through correctly in the financial statements. Right. Before I proceed now to S100, just to make sure that we are still engaged, still haven't lost you guys. I just wanna have another poll. Please do answer the poll, and I'm just gonna give you 2 minutes just to complete the poll. Okay, thank you guys for completing the poll, and we have 61% said no, they have never received an LC 100, and we have 29% who said yes, and then we have other maybe. I just gave them, maybe they're not sure that they've received it before. If they don't remember, it happens. All right. The reason why I want to cover error C100, it was one of our common issues, common errors that we get. And I just want to show you now and how do we go about resolving error C100. Okay, thank you guys for sharing your participating in the poll. I just shared the results with you, and let me just take you through on how to resolve error C100 fee. So what happens is that when you open your financial statements, you will get an error there, error C100, and how do you go about resolving that? So how you go about that, you go to tools, templates, and you open your template.
Hi, Banele. Can you hear me?
Hi, Basi.
Banele. No, it's not, sir. You're not sharing your screen. We're still seeing the poll.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, Thompson. Let
Yeah.
me stop sharing and share again. Thanks, Thompson. Can you confirm if you can see it now?
It's still on the poll on my side. Can I ask somebody else to please confirm?
Oh,
Oh, there we
it's
go.
sorted.
There we go. Yes, yes, it's sorted now.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's just give it some time. We have soup here. Okay, so what do you do, right? Sorry guys, I was in not sharing my screen. So let's say you are in your file and you try to open your financials, and you get, and normally it can be financials information store. You try to open those and you get an error C100, right? What do you do is you go to tools, you go to templates, and you double click on your template, then it's going to open your template, right? And what do you do when you're here? You click on this. Okay, this is how you go to your firm settings, right? I know some of you can struggle with like me when you say look for information, your film settings, you can't navigate around, but we have a navigation panel there where you can just type in the number. So the number is 10 full stop 10 full stop 02, right? To access your, that's a document number. So that's how it launches your film settings. And you go to enable special features and you click on other. And on other, you click on activate, right? Activate, you're going to put in the install key as per the license statement, right? So that means that you must have your license statement open with you. So you must have a license statement with you. So what you do is you open your license statement, you put in the code here, and you click on OK. And then you click on save, and you close your frame settings. And you click on exit, right? Go back to your file, you open your file again, and the error should be resolved. If it persists, then that's when you reach out to support and make sure that you will be assisted. Okay. Just guys, I'm just gonna launch the financial statements again. I just wanna know if so far, if any of you guys have any questions, you can just type them on the poll, and we'll make sure that we do answer. Okay, I see question. Oh, that's so Montero, my colleague, just went through them. I hope you guys are sorted. But if you are having any follow-ups, you can just make sure that you pop in the questions there. Okay. One last more thing that I just want to, sorry guys, I just forgot to mention, in terms of the RC 100, if it's not resolved, make sure that you try to reinstall your template, right? But if you have any issues after maybe reinstalling the templates, particularly the GRAP template or any template that you are using, you can just try to make sure that you reinstall and you open your financials again. Right? Now, another common issues that we pick up in terms of support, and maybe most of it you guys do call in terms of, is the headers, right? Maybe on your headers, we'll just pick the note that I was just working on now. The cache grid. Okay, so this is the note, right? Let me do the print preview just to show you. Okay. 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 Sorry guys, just a moment. Let me just insert the page break to separate the two notes to the notes. Okay. Yeah. So maybe this is the year header, right? But you want to change it to text header, right? Because of maybe there's no figures in that page. You want to change it quickly. So what you do is you right click here. Sorry, sorry guys. So the builder mode has to be on. I click set header for this node and text header, right? When you do a print preview, and it will remove those years there. So we know mostly maybe you want to change. This is how you change it from year header to a text header, right? So yeah, I hope I covered all the common issues, but that if you have any questions, you can just pop them. We'll just make sure that we do answer them fully. So right now, I'm gonna hand over to my colleague Mutel. And he's gonna take you through the tips and drafting the financials. Over to you, Mutel.
Yeah, hi everyone. Okay, I'm just sharing my screen. Okay, can I just get a few reactions if you can see my screen?
We can
Yes,
see
we
it,
can.
Mateo. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I know with regards to year end coming up, most of the time the issues sometimes is just general formatting. So we'll just go through formatting and everything else. But before we do, I just want to stress the importance of dates. So with regards to dates, on your case where it should always be a full 12 months. Never change your dates unless you just want to view the amounts for each month. But generally, just set the year begin date and the year end date to a full 12 months. But I do know sometimes you guys have interim financials, right? So when you do have interim financials, you specify the date on your information store. So I'll just go to the information store from here. Okay, so once you are on the information store, right, you just go to the dates section. So on this section here, it'll ask you, is the current accounting period for a full 12 months or is it not? If it is, then it's fine. You can leave it like that. But if it's not, then you click here and you say is not. And then once you say is not, this additional section will pop up asking you what is the period end if it's not 12 months and what is the period duration, as well as how you want to classify the current period and the higher period. So in this instance, all of these will be empty. You will have to manually fill them in. So I did type out that my year end would be the 31st of December 2024. It would be 9 months, and that the length of the current period is 9 months, ended 31 December. Prior year would be 12 months, ended 31 March. So I just want to show you how it will pull through on your financial statements. So I'm just going to go to print preview. Okay, so when you check my print preview, it says annual financial statements for 9 months ended 31 December 2024. because that is what we wanted. Then if you check your statements, the statement of financial position will just say 31 December 2024. It won't specify that it is for 9 months, but then the other statements will say 9 months ended 31 December 2024 and 12 months ended 31 March 2024. But then the wording is wrong because if it's 9 months, then it can't be annual financial statements, right? So we need to just check how we change this part. So for that, we would go to the cover page. Okay, I'm just waiting for it to respond, but while we do, I'll just be going through the questions that we currently have on our questions tab. So we have one from WeNet Tsepi. So the total row on my reconciliation of PPE is not showing or printing. I can only see it if I switch it to design mode. Okay, so when you stand on the row and then you right click print row, uh, does it give you a result or it doesn't? Or and on your reconciliation, are there multiple figures typed in? Because sometimes on tables, if you only have one amount typed in, the total row won't print since it's just one line. So please just verify that for me, Winet. Then we'll just get back to you. And then Nirvana says on the director's report, it has a member and and destination on the same row, but next to each other, i.e., one on the right and then one on the left. Nirvana, can you go to your director's report, right? And then just stand on the blue heading for director's report, then right click settings and format. Then please click on director names and check. There will be a line that says either one or two. That'll dictate how many directors show on the signature area. So Nirvana, can you please just check that for me? Okay, I'm just going through additional questions. You're saying there's multiple figures on your recon. Okay, can you just, okay, our panelist says he'll just take care of you with regards to that. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for 2 seconds while I just want to get the file to respond. Okay, thank you guys. We are back. So we were going to go to the cover page to just check how you can actually change the naming of your financial. So it's currently reading as annual financial statements. So you go to the cover page, you right click settings and format, and then you say report de- details. So once you stand on report details, this is where you change your report name. If you do not like any of the naming conventions here, you click on other, and then you just select interim financial statements. Once you click on OK, um, then it will change and affect all the headers. So it's going to change from annual financial statements to interim financial statements. As you can see now, it changed to interim financial statements. So it'll be like that for all the headers. Then another thing that's important with dates, right, is your, like Panele covered, your new standards and interpretations. If you can just go back to the financial statements, go to notes to financial statements, you'll see I have selected the relevant things on my new standards interpretations note, but the disclosure is currently not pulling through. So if I check my information store, I'll just take the date back to a full 12 months. And then afterwards, this date of audit of signature report has to be filled in like Panele had stated initially. So, and it has to be a minimum of 3 months after your financial year end. So we'll say the 31st of July. And then you'll see once you go back to the financial statements, the new standard and interpretations note now has all the relevant standards now pulling through. So that's just the importance of dates and how you classify your dates with regards to caseware. And then another one I wanted to touch on was sorting your notes. So sometimes clients like that their notes pulled through in numerical order. So like if you check on my balance sheet now, it's note number 13 and then number 8 and then number 9, then number 14. So clients sometimes prefer that notes start number 3, 4, 5. So in order to do that, you first have to sort your notes based on how you want them. So just go to the notes to financial statements section. Notes to financial statements, you right click, then you sort sections. So when you click on sort sections, this window pops up showing you all the relevant notes. So let's say you wanted, currently the PPE note is note number 3. Maybe we wanted goodwill to be note number 3. We would then move it up. Then you would click on OK. And then you'll see when we start scrolling down, goodwill will now be note number 3. So if we scroll down now, goodwill is now note number 3. So then afterwards, then we just go to the balance sheet. See, PPE is number 4, goodwill is number 3. So we want goodwill to be before property, plant, and equipment. So you just right click, row, and then you sort your rows. So you stand here, and then you just click on move up, and then you click on OK. Then you will see goodwill will now move above property, plant, and equipment. So number 3, so on the non-current asset section, you can see that it's note 3, 4, and 5. Okay, then after that, I just want to touch on alignment and printing orientation. So with regards to Caseware, right? Currently, the reconciliation of goodwill is printing in portrait. So there's a limit on how many columns you can have that can print in portrait. It's 6 columns. So if you check now, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 with the total row. If I were to add more amounts here, you can, and then it prints in portrait, you can see that the table or the page would be misaligned. So I'm just going to go back to print preview. So you can see now it's printing in portrait, but because there's too many columns, the total column is not aligned with the 2024 date. So we always tell clients, if you have more than 6 columns, just please print your page in landscape. And how you do that is you stand on the section heading. So you would stand on reconciliation of goodwill. You would right click, print, and then you say landscape. And then once you do that, then just go back to print preview again. You can see now the years are aligned perfectly. So that's just something else with regards to formatting. I just want to go back to Nirvana's query and show you. So with regards to the reports, depending on how many directors or signatures you want, you always stand here on the heading, then you right click, settings and format, then you click on director names. So numbers to sign will always dictate how many directors pull through at the bottom of the page. We'll set this one to 3. And then you can also customize it how you like. So maybe spaces in between signatures. Instead of 1 centimeter, you would like it to be more than 1. So you click on OK. Then we just go to the end of the section. And as you can see, there are now three signatures here. I do not have any directors typed in on my information store, so it won't allow me to select anyone. So you would have to have directors typed in on your info store first so that they can pull through. And then another one I wanted to touch on is editing. So like formatting and everything. I'll just scroll down to another note. So with regards to editing, right, some clients prefer that words have a certain font to them. So style sheets is very convenient for that because it affects the entire section. So let's say maybe you wanted this section to, like your entire notes to financial statements, the text section, you want it to have a different font and a different alignment. So you click on modify styles here. It would then show you uh, the style of this text. So you can just go to font and then maybe you want it in a different font and in a smaller size or a bigger size, 14. And then the logic. And then you maybe just want to align it to the center and increase spacing in between. Then you just click on OK. Then it'll ask you any changes made to notes input text, which is the name of the style. May have not been applied. You wish to apply them now, then you click on yes. But please note that once you do that, it actually affects the whole section. So it's not for just one specific section. It'll affect everything on the notes to the financial statements that has that particular style sheet. Yeah, then I'll just take it back to how it was. Then I click on apply. Then you see everything then goes back to how it originally was. And that's everything with regards to formatting. I also just wanted to explain uh, the logic with regards to the amounts on each and every statement. So the balance sheet reads the amounts from the note. So if ever you encounter an amount not pulling through correctly, always check your note first, while the income statement references strictly mapping. So if ever you have an amount incorrect on your income statement, you have to check your mapping. Another way we have is builder mode. So builder mode actually shows you how everything pulls through. If you check on your income statement, if you activate builder mode, it'll show you which mapping number sale of goods pulls through from, commission received, rental income. If you go to your balance sheet, it'll tell you what's the note that it pulls through from. So note 0 and 5. And then if you go to your cash flow, it's a combination of both notes and the mapping. So always just check if it's reading the correct mapping number. If you're not satisfied with the amount that is pulling through, and when I see you said my setting is for one director to sign, but it still shows two. Can you just refresh on that? So if it shows two, go to your settings and format on the director's report. Make it 3, click on OK, and then once that's done, go back to settings and format again. Then take it back to 1. Then please just get back to me on that on if that did resolve your issue. Okay, and that's it for the logic of how the amounts pull through. I'm just checking what else I can cover. Okay, I just want to show you guys also how to insert different uh, tables and sections on the financial statements. So I'll just go to a different note. So maybe you want to add disclosure on your goodwill note. So like you see, goodwill has no disclosure; it just has the table. So maybe you would like to add uh, maybe you would like to add a text section stating why this movement was like this on your goodwill. So you just stand on the note name, you click. So this green plus sign is our super insert function. Stand on it, then you say text section. Then you either select between a normal and bulleted text. We'll just go with normal here. Then you say below. Okay, Navana, I see that you said yours worked. Okay, no problem with it. I'm still just going to check in with you afterwards. Okay, let's just check on the goodwill section now. Okay, it's still just adding the section, it would seem. Okay, there we go. So yeah, so you see now your text section is here under the goodwill section. So if you ever want to turn it on, you just stand on it, then you right click on, then it should turn on. I just want to check with you, Winnet. So when you go to your, you said it was your PPE recon. Let me just go there as well. So I'll just turn my recon on. So Winnet, do you see what I'm seeing on my side when you stand on the table heading, then you right click properties, then you see the option that says display options for table totals. And please just confirm with me if it's saying show on your side. Okay, another one while I wait for Winnet to get back to me is the statement of budgets. Sometimes another query that comes in is changing it from cash to accrual or vice versa. So you just go to this budget statement, you stand on it, right click, settings and format, and then this will be the basis of the budget. Currently, it's pulling through for cash, basis, you can just say accrual there. And then once you do that, it is done and it now pulls through on budget basis as it says here. So I don't know if there are any questions. Please do send your questions on the chat with regards to anything that I've presented. Otherwise, I'll be handing back to Banele and I'll just take more. I'll just communicate with you on the chat with regards to your question.
Thank you, Mutel. Sorry guys, I'm just quickly sharing my screen now. I know I'm not showing it. Okay, so yeah, those were the common issues that we touched on, and the tips that we shared for you guys. But I just want to cover the most important part. When are we available to make sure that we assist you during your submission period? All right. So currently our working hours are from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. during the week. So those are the support hours, and you can just reach out to us through our telephone or our chat function there that is on the community. And another thing that you can do that we have now is you can book a consultant. In terms of the booking, guys, I just want to make sure that this is like a doctor's appointment. Okay, you can't just book on the same day and request assistance on the same day. So you book today for tomorrow. So it works like that. So you can, if you know that Monday you will need assistance, you can just go to your community right now, make sure that you book. And in terms of the description, please just make sure that that description is proper so that it gives the consultant some time to see how they can prepare for the issue, right? So that you don't spend more time on the call, right? And so the booking is from 8:30 until 5. So it's not from 7 to 7. So that's that with the booking. But you will see we have a booking slot where you can see that our consultants are fully booked, or one of the consultants that we're going to get over booking is Mutel. You can see how good he is. So those are the consultants that our technical support are the ones that handles the bookings. And in terms of weekends, we will be open on the Saturday and Sunday on the 24th and the 25th of May, and on the 31st of May from 9 until 3. Okay, so we will be available on chat and over uh, the telephone. So you can reach us through via telephone or chat. So both of the channels will be open during weekend. All right. And if there is no other questions, maybe we'll stay until 11, just to make sure that we attend all the questions. All right. But I'm just going to hand over to Nomsa now, just to make sure that she gives the closing. Over to you, Nomsa.
Thank you so much, Banele and Mateo. Thank you so much for that very informative session. Colleagues, like Banele has confirmed, they will be on standby until 11:30. But if anybody else is happy and would like to drop off, thank you so much for your time. And then if you have any query after this, I think you all got the invite from my email address. You can just respond to it and send me an email if you have any query. There are some issues that our support consultants cannot assist with. So then we would have to quote you for our senior consultant who would, if you want, would come to your premises, or it can be done remotely. Whatever assistance that you need that our support can assist with. But you will get direction from our support to say, no, this one is a consulting issue. So with that being said, thank you so much, everyone. I will be dropping off, and if you need anything from me, please email me. And then thank you, Banele and Mateo. Thanks so much.